Greetings, adventurous ones. Have you ever been on those times where you're working hard, you want a nice cold drink, you get the cold drink, but by the time you get around to drinking it again and stuff like that, it's either piss warm, the ice is all melted away and stuff, and it's not as cold anymore and everything else in between it? Well, that problem is now solved thanks to Spidey's powder tumblers. And when I'm working hard making these videos for you guys and stuff like that, I need that nice cold refreshing drink happening here. Whether it's my water, whether it's iced tea, or even my fruit punch or something in between it. Okay, these tumblers are nice and solid. They keep your drink cold even after hours of just sitting around and stuff like that. I mean, this has got my iced tea in it, and it's been 2 hours since I put my iced tea in it and stuff. It's still nice, refreshing, cold. So, if you want to be a part of these type of things and get it custom made as well, because when I got mine custom made by Spidey's Powder Tumblers, he asked me what character I like. I said Michael Keaton's Batman, and boom. He's also done ones for Legion of Comics, DJ Lynx, and among others in the comic book community and toy community as well. So, if you want to be a part of that and you want to get your own custom-made tumbler made for you and stuff like that, follow the link down in the description below to Spidey's Powder Tumblers on Instagram. Let them know Joseph Michaels, the Adventurous Joe, sent you. Now, back to the video. Today on the channel, Adventurous Ones, as we wrap up Star Wars week here on the channel, we are checking out now on the movie review, Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. What's it all about? You're about to find out, because this is the Adventurous Joe's Movie Reviews. It's time we get started. Welcome back, Adventurous Ones, for another movie review. I'm your host, as always, the master of all multiverses, and the reason why they've turned an absolute and total shitfest. Yep, never sorry for it one damn bit, but you're welcome. Joseph Michaels, the Adventurous Joe, at your services, and on this episode of the movie review, as we're wrapping up Star Wars week here on the channel, we are checking out the untold story, if you will, that takes place before Star Wars A New Hope, and it is Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. Now, this story takes place before the events of Star Wars A New Hope even begin, okay, because the crew, known as, that go by the call sign Rogue One, okay, they are a ragtag group, if you will, that come together and stuff, thanks to Jyn Erso and Cassian Andor. Now, if you've not seen the Andor series on Disney Plus, you should watch it before you watch this. Because if you watched this already, okay, watched Rogue One, A Star Wars Story already, before watching Cassian's story on Andor and everything, both seasons of Andor, you're going to be in for a shock beyond a shock. Because this story in the Andor series hits a lot different once you watch this again. Because you find out how much, when Cassian first meets Jyn Erso and stuff like that, okay, he is rude to her, he is mean towards her and everything else in between. And she's just, all because her father is the one that created the Death Star. Okay, this super weapon and stuff for the Empire and everything else in between. They don't know what it can do or anything else in between. They just know it's being put together and stuff. Okay, that it's the Empire is planning to use this weapon soon and everything in between it. Okay, so it's the movie starts off with Jyn Erso and her mom and dad on a planet where they're trying to be, I guess, like moisture farmers, if you will, okay, and they are pursued by Orson Krennic. Orson Krennic is the lead project leader now and stuff like that for the Death Star. Okay, however, Galen Erso played by Mads Mikkelsen, he created the whole thing. Okay, he helped create this damn thing. But once he found out what the Empire was trying to do with it and stuff, he took his wife and daughter and vamoosed. Okay, he disappeared off the grid and shit for the longest time. Well, apparently the Empire found him, and Orson Krennic brought a squad of Death Troopers with him and stuff, and decided, I'm gonna force you back. You know, we're gonna take you back and stuff like everything else in between. Galen told Krennic, I want nothing to do with it, okay? You can have it. I don't want nothing to do with it. And, of course, to make his point clear and stuff like that, that he's not giving him a choice, okay? Krennic has Galen's wife killed, okay? And Jyn Erso, the daughter of Galen, okay, and Mira was, by the way, the name of Galen's wife. Now, she gets shot and killed. The Krennic orders the Death Troopers to find the daughter in order to force Galen to do whatever he wants, okay? Alright, well, they don't find the little girl and stuff, and she ends up in the hands of Saw Gerrera, who we met back in the Clone Wars, and then in Star Wars Rebels. So yeah, there's a lot of things that took place in between before even Rogue One begins. Now, in Rogue One, there is so much time jumping thing taking place here and there and stuff. We go from Jyn Erso being a little girl who gets taken in by Saw Gerrera to her being in an Imperial prison camp. Yep. And then you find out Cassian is trying to find out where she's at and everything else in between. He finds out the information and kills the informant. I mean, this guy, he was ruthless. He just became ruthless. He wasn't freaking like, the grand hero everybody thinks in the rebellion and stuff. No, he became like an assassin for the rebellion. Okay, he literally was like, okay, you gave me the information. Okay, you're done. All right, killed that guy, takes off and goes hunting for Jyn Erso. Okay, when he finds Jyn Erso, it's the most hilarious thing in the world because they not only, uncuff her and stuff, and she's like on this Imperial transport they rescue her from. They uncuff her. She does a punch, tries to run away, and she gets clotheslined by this droid. And the droid is Cassian's friend and partner, K2SO. And he's an Imperial droid of his, he was a former Imperial droid of his own. But Cassian reprogrammed him and everything else in between. Now he works with Cassian Andor and everything else in between it. Well, when Jyn tries to make her little run for it off the Imperial transport, gets clotheslined. I mean, seriously, that damn droid clotheslined her. She goes flat on her back, literally falling onto the ground and stuff. And K2SO looks down at her and goes, "Congratulations, you've been rescued." What the hell? Everybody in the theater was laughing their asses off when that happened. I mean, it was just like, she's just like, who the hell are you? An Imperial droid just, congratulations, you've been rescued. I was like, goddamn. Well, anyways, the whole point is in rescuing Jyn Erso is they want to find her father, Galen. Okay, the rebellion wants to know, what is Galen doing? Why is he building this? What is this weapon that the Empire is putting together and stuff? Why is it so secret and stuff? Why is her father mentioned in it all? Well, it turns out there was an Imperial informant who went rogue and was trying to get a message to the rebellion and stuff. Okay, well, he got a message. He was trying to give them that message and stuff, but he fell into the hands of Saw Gerrera, and Saw Gerrera is gone wacko at this point and stuff, to the point that he don't believe a word he's saying and stuff. So he uses this mind alien thing that does this tentacle thing, and it was just creepy shit. But anyways, it finds out the information. They pass it along to frickin' the rebellion, okay, but not in a good way. I mean, Saw Gerrera is on bad terms with the whole Mon Mothma and her rebellion and stuff. Okay, well, anyways, once this is all taking place and everything, Jin is given a choice. Go back into confinement as a prisoner, or help us find your father so we can find out what the hell's going on here and stuff. Now, one thing she did not know is Cassian was told to assassinate the dad as soon as they get the information. Okay? So, that was not known. But at the same time, the story is a progression. I mean, it's a literal progression. Oh, and on top of that, that's another thing I forgot to bring up. Every planet we go to, they tell you the name of the planet. Not like the actors are telling you, the characters are telling you in the story and stuff. No, it actually pulls it up on the screen for you to read it and says, like, oh, where Cassian and Jin are heading with K2SO is called Jeddah. Yeah, it literally throws it up on the screen. And I was waiting for, at one point, when they finally show the Death Star being, the final part of the Death Star being installed and everything, I was waiting for them to throw up there and say, Death Star, you're at the Death Star. They didn't do that. Anyways, I think it only counts for planets, not planet killers. Anyways, the whole point is that once they get to Jeddah, they meet another group in a blind Chirrut, the blind monk, okay, and Baze is his partner, okay, and Chirrut knows there's something about Jin, okay. He literally is force sensitive. He can sense something about Jin, and they call it the will of the force and stuff like that. Okay, he's trying to tell her there's something interesting about her and stuff. Now, in my case, I was thinking, okay, Jyn Erso, I've never heard of this character before and stuff. Maybe she is the one that's going to become Mara Jade or something. That's not the case. But the story of Rogue One is basically how the Death Star plans fall into the rebellion hands and stuff like that. How the whole thing begins with Star Wars A New Hope, right at the beginning, with the whole Rebel blockade runner being chased by the Imperial Star Destroyer and so on and so forth. Okay, the story is such a progression. Okay, it goes from introducing us to all these new characters to making us hate the fact that you're going to lose all these characters. Why? Why? And, well, it turns out that these guys sacrificed themselves so the rebellion got the Death Star plans. And that's how they fall into the hands of Princess Leia. Okay, and she gives them to C-3PO and R2-D2 to take care of, and, and so on and so forth. And to find Obi-Wan. You know the whole story with Star Wars, A New Hope already. Anyways, the events that launch A New Hope are all in this movie, including the epic space battle. Oh my god, that was so freaking good. I was like, this is before A New Hope, and we're seeing Rebellion versus the Empire, and it was freaking awesome. And once that takes place on the planet Scarif, oh my god, where the Death Star plans are being held, it's fantastic. It was so freaking cool, especially when the rebellion just comes zooming out of hyperspace and right there at the planet Scarif and stuff. And the Empire's just like, where the hell did they come from? It was beautiful. And the way Rogue Group, the way they do things to get on Scarif, to get after these Death Star plans and stuff, it's perfect. It's the perfect version of a Star Wars spy movie. Okay? They basically are freaking there to infiltrate the facility, get the Death Star plans, escape, and then get them back to the rebellion. So that they all know what the hell is about to happen. Okay? But I digress. The events that really get the rebellion scared, I mean, they literally get scared. They had all these other leaders and stuff like that scared shitless when they found out that this Death Star weapon can destroy a whole freaking planet. Well, it didn't destroy Jeddah. It turned it into a wasteland because the weapon was not yet complete. Okay? Galen was sabotaging the Death Star while he was working on it again. In fact, the whole thermal exhaust port that Luke has to shoot at the end there and shit to blow up the whole Death Star, okay, he did that. It's a hidden design flaw inside the Death Star. They don't know it's in there and stuff. Okay, the Empire doesn't even know it's in there. So when the Rebellion and A New Hope are freaking using their X-Wings and Y-Wings to freaking get in there and blow that damn thing up, they're all like, what the hell are they after down there? What are they after? And, why are they coming in there? And then they figure out, the Empire's like, that son of a bitch Galen fucked us. He literally fucked us. What the hell is that thing? Then, yeah, they found out there's a design flaw in the freaking Death Star, and they were like, oh, hell no, we can't let these guys blow us up. Yeah, this will blow up the whole damn station and shit. Well, thanks to Rogue One here, they freaking got those Death Star plans and everything else in between. But the best part is Vader. Vader has only 2 or 3 scenes in this movie. Now, they didn't overabundantly use Vader because they had known that he'll be very abundantly used in Star Wars A New Hope. So, Gareth Edwards decided, let's do Vader in subtlety, and so they did. They went from Mustafar, where Vader has a castle of his own, for God's sake, okay, and we go to Mustafar. Krennic is there to, appeal his griefs or whatever to Vader, and Vader just don't want to hear it. Okay? Vader don't want to hear it. He's like, literally, I'm tired of excuses. Don't frick with me on this shit. And he even makes a choking joke. Something you would not have seen Darth Vader ever do. But he does. He actually starts force choking Krennic. And Krennic is just like having trouble breathing and shit, like the usual force choke thing and stuff. But he goes and turns around to look at him and says, be careful not to choke on your aspirations, director. And then lets him go. I was like, did Vader just make a force choke joke? Oh my God. That's unreal. And he did. It was literally like a force choke joke. Well, anyways, the whole battle consummates on Scarif. The rebellion is fighting both on Scarif and above Scarif, to the point that when they get they got the Death Star plans from Rogue One, but Tarkin shows up, blows up freaking Scarif. I'm not, seriously. He uses the Death Star's laser on it, and it just destroys everything on Scarif. And this is before A New Hope, where the weapon, I guess, was more improved, because then they were able to just blow up the whole planet, not just turn it into a wasteland. Okay? But anyways, he shows up, kills everything on Scarif. Rogue One, all of them die on Scarif, including Jyn Erso and Cassian Andor, which, like I said, if you've not seen the Andor series yet, this is going to hit a lot different, because you find out the sacrifices that Cassian made, okay, to be a part of the rebellion, to do what was necessary in the rebellion, okay? You find out in Andor those sacrifices he made and what he leaves behind. Yeah, it's touching, and it will break your heart once you, especially when you look at this movie again after watching that series, because that is Andor. In Andor, that's Cassian's life story. That's literally telling you everything he's gone through to this point. Why in Rogue One he is the way he is, the way he acts, and the way he does everything. It all cultivates in Andor. Anyways, the best part of the end, towards the end of the film, after Rogue One dies on Scarif and everything else in between, Admiral Raditz, who is basically a blue version of Admiral Akbar, okay, they're both from the same Mon Calamari, species and stuff. Okay, he says when he sees that Scarif is just getting destroyed and stuff like that, but after the Death Star fired its weapon and did everything, okay, he looks down and watching from his seat, and he says, Rogue One, may the Force be with you. And everybody's like, okay, let's get the hell out of here. We got the Death Star plans. Let's get the hell out of here. Okay, just as they're getting ready to escape, boom, he shows up. Yep, Darth Vader shows up in his own Star Destroyer. And he tells them, one of his commanders tells him that the plans have been transferred over to the main flagship and stuff like that. And he tells them, prepare a boarding party. Okay, well, the boarding party didn't have to do much, because once they got the plans downloaded to a file, a disk thing and stuff, a file, which you see Leia insert in R2 at the beginning of A New Hope and stuff, okay. Once they get this, they're literally trying to scramble to get the hell out of there and, get on board Leia's ship and everything else in between. And that's when Vader shows up. And this is the best. Everybody was freaking the frick out when this happened and shit. Because Vader, you heard the breathing and the darkness. The troops are all going like this, trying to get their blasters ready to fire at whatever's there. And that's when the red lightsaber lights up everything. And it's just like, oh my God. Yeah, the troops were fricked. They were so fricked. And that scene, that hallway scene, was just seeing Vader unleashed. I mean, he literally was tearing them to shreds. And you were like, okay, when we see Vader in A New Hope, and he's boarding Leia's ship and stuff like that, he's not doing any of that kind of shit. Okay, even when he fights Obi-Wan, he's not doing that kind of, shit like he does and stuff in this towards the end of this film. I said, whoa, it was just unreal. He literally tore these guys to shreds, and the one guy, the door is jammed half open, so the one guy's going like this, trying to pry open, damn it, and it won't pry open. So he goes, and the other guy's on the other side going, it won't open any further. And he goes like this, here, take the plans, go. Vader just plunges his lightsaber right through the guy, and it opens the freaking door. I was like, God damn it. I was laughing my ass off at that point in the theater. Literally laughing my ass off. I was like, Vader opened the door for you just by plunging his lightsaber through you and the door. It was perfect. It was perfect. Anyways, the whole thing culminates to them getting on board Leia's blockade runner, her ship, and getting the hell out of there. They literally leave Admiral Raditz's ship. They're going woof right out of there and shit. And it ends with Vader standing there with his stormtroopers watching them leave. And you can just see him like he is super pissed. Like, okay, you think you're getting away? And that's when we find the final scene of Rogue One. Now, this is the most important part, because at the end we see Captain Antilles handing Leia the plans. Okay, and he says, "This is the transmission. This is the transmission we got from Admiral Raditz and stuff. What do you think it is?" And Leia holds it up, and you see the young face of Carrie Fisher, even though it's not Carrie Fisher. Okay, the face was about as good as they could get it for what they were doing at the end this time frame and stuff. Okay, with the whole digital de-aging kind of deal stuff. Okay, she holds the plans in her hands, and she says to Captain Antilles, when he asks what do you think it is and stuff, she says hope. And you get the whole transition of the blockade runner in hyperspace and end credits. Okay, Rogue One, a Star Wars story, perfect in every single way possible. Now, some people complained about the whole Peter Cushing, Grand Moff Tarkin face, and the whole Leia digitally de-age kind of deal and stuff like that. But it really didn't bother me that much. I thought the movie turned out perfectly good for what it was. They were telling us a story that we never knew. Because we watch A New Hope and we're like, where did these plans come from? How did they get them? Did Leia and them freaking infiltrate a base and then got the plans? It was interesting to find out how this all culminated together and stuff. And some people were saying, oh, the whole Cassian and Jyn holding each other at the end and stuff like that, that, you know, it was they were falling in love with each other and stuff. No, he was more along the lines of like a brother-sister kind of deal and stuff. And even Gareth Edwards said the same thing, is that they weren't lovers, they were like good friends, like a brother and sister kind of deal, holding on to one another, knowing that this is the end, you know. This is the end for us. We're not going to see another sunrise or anything else in between. This is the end. Okay, and the way everything was handled with how the rebellion is growing, how the Empire is flourishing and taking over the galaxy and everything else in between, the way the Death Star is built, which again, I'm not going to spoil it for you if you haven't seen it, but watch Andor. It's important. Okay? Anyways, this movie was the culmination to giving us that in-between story we didn't know happened, but only heard about it in Star Wars A New Hope. Anyways, to me, I will always love this movie. It's got its little comedic moments in it, a little comedy here and there and stuff, little funny moments and stuff, but it's mostly because it's K2SO. Alan Tudyk playing K2SO was perfect casting. Okay, and he just nails it. I mean, especially when he was talking about how he gave, during their first mission when they were heading to Jeddah, okay, they said, K2SO says to Andor, Cassian, you gave her a blaster, but you won't let me have one. And he says nothing to him, and he says, I see how it is. I'm like, oh God, the droid ain't happy. Droid ain't happy with you. But, yeah, the little comedic moments here and there and stuff were mostly K2SO. He was perfect in it. Alan Tudyk, chef's kiss, he did perfect. Okay, as K2SO. And to have him reprise his role in Andor as well was even more perfect. But I digress. Back to the point of the movie is that we look for hope in the most desperate of times. And that's what Gareth Edwards even said, is that Rogue One, a Star Wars story, is about looking for hope in dark times, in desperate times. And they found that hope through the Rogue group, and how they frickin' sacrificed their lives so the rebellion could live on, so they could frickin' get these Death Star plans to them and find a weakness in it to destroy the damn thing. Which is funny how that all works, because the weakness is not even revealed when they got the plans and stuff. And the funny part is how they found the plans. Okay, is that they were under a certain code name. Okay, and it was Stardust, and that was because when Jin was younger, her father would always call her Stardust. Okay, so the whole thing, when Galen was brought back to work on this Death Star, to super weapon and everything else in between, to finish it off and everything for the Empire, okay, he told them the code name for it will be Stardust. Okay, I thought it was kind of interesting how he named his daughter, the nickname for his daughter, the way to find the Death Star plans. It was interesting. Anyways, to me, Rogue One is great. They didn't overabundantly use Vader like they would. A lot of people said, Vader should have been in it more and stuff like that, because there was a scene where Vader is on the Death Star, okay, and he's having a conversation with Krennic, not on Mustafar like we get to see in the movie and stuff. There was a scene they actually shot that was shown in the trailer, okay, that Vader and Krennic were having a discussion on the Death Star about how he wants Tarkin taken off this and stuff, that it's his project, his grand work and everything else in between. And Vader does the whole force choke thing to him there too and stuff. And that's what Gareth Edwards even said. But once they did the test screenings and stuff, not everybody wanted that. It just felt off-put, they said. They were like, okay, so what, does Vader go back to wherever and just do whatever? And that's when they decided, okay, we'll go back, we'll reshoot it, and we'll make it where it's on Mustafar at Vader's castle. And use the same lines, dialogue, and everything else in between. Which they did. And once it got seen again by the execs at Disney and shit, the execs at Disney and Lucasfilm and stuff, they loved it. They said, this ties in perfectly to both the prequel trilogy and the original trilogy. Okay. Anyways, final thoughts. Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Great in every single aspect it needs to be in. It gives us action, intrigue, spy-like thriller, and everything else in between. Something that you always don't get in Star Wars. But does it live up to the hype? Absolutely. I mean, especially now with the Andor series out there and stuff, you watch the Andor series before this. If you've never seen Rogue One, a Star Wars story, watch Andor. Then come into this movie. It hits so different. Because it's not only just about finding hope in the darkest of times, in the most desperately bad times and stuff. It's also about the sacrifices that were made to get this far, to make it where you want everything to be. Anyways, let's hear your thoughts down in the comment section down below, Adventurous ones. Did you ever watch Rogue One, a Star Wars story? Or is it something that you have not watched yet, but now you're curious to see what all takes place with the series Andor first before watching this for the first time? Let's hear your thoughts down in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, leave your comments, and hit that bell notification so you don't miss on anything we got coming up on this channel still in 2026. There's always more on the way. You never know what's going to be on this channel unless you hit the bell and set it all. And if you want to be a part of our end of the month giveaway for your chance to win a $10 gift card of your choosing, head over to that video right now. It's up on the channel. Follow the 3 rules of it. Enter the hashtag Road to 1K and you are all set to go. And all entries must be in by July 29th, 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Because the morning of July 30th, we begin filming everything. All entries are closed until the next giveaway, and so on. So, until the next time, Adventurous ones, to that galaxy far, far away review, peace out. May the Force be with all of you. And every last one of y'all have a safe, lovely, and beautiful week out there. Take care of yourselves, your family, your friends, your pets, loved ones in general. And be smart out there, people. Don't listen to stupid idiots and don't do stupid shit. That's going to get you badly hurt. Or even worse, 6 feet in the ground forever, okay? Use the brains in your heads, people. And get home safely to those that love and care about you the most, alright? We don't live in safe times anymore. There are no second chances in life. Use them that you got while you got them. Use them wisely. Let those people in your life know how much you love and care for them in return. Until then, take care. God bless to all of you out there. Please remain safe. And we'll see you all later.